Good morning, YouTube. Now that my Ferrari 458 is gone, I wanted to talk about what we're going to do on this channel next and what you can expect to see coming up soon.
So are you recording all of the nefarious activities?
If you're new to the channel, my name is Dan and this is my garage, and right now I am, well, lacking a supercar in the garage. I still have a Ferrari 599. If you didn't know, we are converting it to a manual transmission. It's taking, well, let's just say it's been over a year longer than anticipated. We thought it was gonna be 2 to 3 months. It's been 16 or so. Yeah, it is what it is. It'll be done sometime soon, I think. My primary thing on this channel when I first started was showing normal guys how to own a supercar, what it was like owning a supercar, and basically showing that you shouldn't be scared of these cars, that you can work on them, that you can modify them, and that you can really enjoy them more than most people think. A lot of people contact me and they're like, oh, I'm scared of this car, I'm scared of buying a Ferrari or whatever, and what happens about this and that, and I try and alleviate a lot of those myths and fears. And so we're kind of going back to that a bit, but actually we're doing a bit of strategy change on how the channel is going to operate, and so I want to tell you about that right now. But real quick, if you'd like to support us, and I hope you do, please like, share, and subscribe. And of course, go to normalguysupercar.com. There you can buy parts and services for your car. You could also email us at sales@normalguysupercar.com and we can give you custom quotes. That's how you can get the best deals, because then we can actually compute the shipping and all that stuff and taxes and whatever, and make sure you get the best price possible. All right, so if you've been watching the last few videos, you know the 458 got sold, and the reason I sold that car is to kind of advance my business. I felt like the 458 is too reliable for this channel, and as much as it is an amazing car, and any of you looking to buy a 458 should absolutely do so right now, I do think there's a reasonable possibility that their values is just going to keep going up. That would be my guess. I mean, obviously we can't predict the future, but that's how it seems. And of course then you're thinking, well, why did you sell your car if you know it's going to be going up in value? Well, the car to me is not meant to be an investment. I don't care if I make money on the cars, or I should say I don't want to lose a ton of money on these cars, but I'm buying them for different purposes than most people. So you probably are wondering, well, how did you come to this conclusion that you had to sell it? Well, I've actually been contemplating selling this car for, I'm gonna say 6+ months. So the channel has had a hard time with trying to come up with content because there's just not that much you could do to that car because, well, it's just damn near perfect. It doesn't break. We already modified the exhaust. In fact, we modified the exhaust multiple times. It was already lowered. We already cleaned up the interior. Nothing was falling apart. We've already got a PPF on it. Everything was fine. And so that's awesome to be an owner, but it's not good for drama and for YouTube videos. And I think we kind of thoroughly explored the 458 and showed people, hey, you can go buy these cars and not be scared of them. And generally speaking, they hold up really well. I mean, obviously there's some outliers and stuff, but generally. So with the fact that I've been thinking about selling it for quite a while, we also, Adam and I have been discussing what car should we get next. And originally the plan was always, okay, we're gonna convert this 599, and as soon as we convert it, we're gonna drive around a little bit, show it off, and then sell it, and then use that money to buy the next car. Well, who knows when my 599 is gonna be done, so I kind of got to the point where I said, you know what, I can't expect that car to be done anytime soon, so the 458's gotta go, because I only have a limited amount of money that I can use towards these cars. I don't want to take out liens on these cars because, well, this is part of the new strategy for the channel is I want to flip the cars very rapidly. You're going to see a lot of cars coming and going on this channel very quickly over, I don't know, the next period of time, whatever, months, years, whatever it is. So full disclosure, this Gallardo, as soon as we get it home, we're gonna start modifying it, cleaning it up, maintaining it, getting it up to being good, showing that this is a good car, and as soon as someone wants to make an offer on it, if it's more than we paid for the car, more than we have into it, we'll probably take it. So that's the other thing. All of these cars that you're gonna start seeing come through the channel, feel free to make offers on them. And I'm not talking lowball bullshit offers, like if it's less than we paid for the car, obviously we're not gonna just immediately take a loss on it. But if you can show it, you know, if you can make an offer that is reasonable and it's either like break even or a slight profit, we'll probably sell it to you. That means, yes, we are actually creating a dealership. We're in the process of getting that going. We're gonna have our own dealership because, well, the taxes on these cars, buying and selling like this, would destroy us. There's no way we could ever make money. And frankly, the taxes on it would probably be larger than the profits that we're gonna be making on some of these cars, which in many of these cases is probably gonna be like, you know, razor thin. But that's the beauty of it, is I don't have to make a ton of money on the cars or even any money on the cars because we're going to make some money showing you the car, making videos on it, hopefully getting some advertising revenue on YouTube, and best of all, hopefully getting some of you to buy your parts for those cars on our website, normalguyssupercar.com. And that's really what the strategy is all about. We want to buy cars that we know you guys want to buy parts for from us. And that's why we're buying a Gallardo first. So there was a lot of people saying, no, you should buy a F12, you should buy a 48, you should buy a Murcielago, you know, all these different cars, everyone's saying, but the Gallardo makes a ton of sense from a business perspective because number one, they made over 14,000 of them, which is, at the time, it was the highest produced Lamborghini, of all time at that time. I think the Huracans probably beat it by now, but they made a crap load of Gallardos. So there's a lot of them out there, so there's a lot of people that own them, and those people tend to want to modify them. Here's one thing that I found kind of interesting is that the Lamborghini culture is a little bit different than the Ferrari culture. Lamborghini culture doesn't hold the cars sacrosanct. They don't necessarily care that much about if the car is original or if it's modified. In fact, I think a lot of Lamborghini owners prefer to modify their cars. So that's something that I believe that, like, with my heart, like, you should modify cars to be your own. I don't care about originality. I mean, obviously, if you have some 1960s collectible Ferrari, it's a little bit different. You don't want to be modifying it, but you know, a modern Ferrari that comes from the factory and it has a boring exhaust, you can make sound glorious by throwing on something like a Klein behind me. And that's exactly why we're doing that. Is I want to show you that you can buy a Gallardo, take the factory exhaust, which sounds okay, and make it scream and sound amazing with the Klein. So that's the kind of the stuff that we want to do, is we want to buy cars that we can show you, not only can you own them and enjoy them, and here's some things to learn about them and things to look out for when you're buying them or whatever, but also here's some stuff that you can do to them to enjoy them more. So all of it kind of comes around in a full circle of, these are all the different ways that we can kind of grow our business by turning over these cars rapidly. So again, the Gallardo we're buying, it's going to be for sale the second I own it. Like, any of you that want to buy it at any time, make an offer for it. And if you say, hey, I want to buy it, but I want to buy it once you're done modifying it, we can even work out a deal like that, because maybe we could kind of work in what gets modified to your likings. In fact, I'm okay with the idea of you say, well, actually, I want this exhaust and this done. We'll probably do the labor for free and then sell the car to you, and basically you can just pay for the parts. So that's another way to do it. Like, we're willing to kind of work this out to be flexible, because ultimately it's all about showing you guys these cars, the experience of owning them, and what it's like to work on them and play with them and just enjoy them. So that's kind of where we're heading. And that's why we're buying a Lamborghini Gallardo, because I wanted to shake it up a bit and show you that these cars are also awesome. And no, that doesn't mean I'm going to be taking and selling all my stuff off the wall. And no, that doesn't mean I'm no longer a fan of Ferrari. No, I still love Ferrari. I'm still going to own Ferraris and still own a Ferrari. But I want to experience other brands. You know, at some point, we'll probably do McLaren. I'm a little bit leery of those just because I know parts are hard to get. But hey, I still want to play with the McLaren at some point. I think it'll be fun. One of the questions to ask was, why aren't you getting a Murcielago? I really want a Murcielago. I think they are fantastic. In fact, of all the Lamborghinis, that is the one I want. That is my 458 equivalent in the Lamborghini world. I want a Murcielago. They didn't make very many of them, and they're pretty expensive. So that's why I didn't want to buy one, is because I wanted to appeal to the greatest audience first. And I felt like that is the Gallardo right now. The Gallardo right now is really affordable. I mean, in the supercar world, okay, like obviously, like, you know, anything $100,000 or more is, you know, questionably affordable, but it's a reasonably priced supercar for what you get. They are one hell of a car in the sub $100,000 category. They, to me, kind of are where the 430 was when I first bought it. So I actually think the Gallardos are gonna go up in price. That's another reason I wanted to do it now while they're cheap, because I feel like it's a V10 under $100,000, that just doesn't make sense to me. It's ridiculous. So they're gonna go up at some point soon, you mark my words. But that's kind of it. That's the strategy of this channel. So we're gonna be flipping a lot of cars. I've actually planned out the next 2 or 3 cars I wanna buy. I don't know how long we're gonna hold on to each car. It's gonna kind of depend on how quickly we can modify it and show what we wanna show with it. You know, that's really what it's all about, is I wanna get the cars to be into a good state that I feel good about selling it to someone else. See, I felt really good selling my 458 to the person who bought it because it was in perfect condition. Like, we did everything possible to make sure that it was running good, that everything was maintained properly, and that the car looked great. So I want to do the same thing on any of these cars that we buy. Is I want to make sure that they're in good shape so that when you buy it from us, you're getting an excellent example and you feel really comfortable buying it from us. Obviously that means, a lot of you are gonna say, well, how about you buy this car or that car? We'll get there, Have patience, we're gonna go through a lot of cars, okay? So I hope that we can go through 6 to 12 cars this year. That's kind of my goal. That's lofty. So once we get this car here, we'll start playing with it. You guys will see a lot of work on it and it'll be fun. So I hope that strategy makes you guys excited enough so that you want to like, share, and subscribe. And of course, please do support us by going to normalguysupercar.com. Buy your parts and services through us. We can get you a lot of stuff. Even if it's not listed on our website, just email us sales@normalguysupercar.com. But that's gonna do it for now. I am super excited because we fly out tomorrow to go check out this Lamborghini. So you're gonna want to stay tuned for that video. It'll be coming out very, very soon. You know it's gonna be sweet.